Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Corn Productions here to talk about The X-Files, Season 1, Episode 23, titled Roland. The episode's description reads as follows. When scientists at an aeronautics lab die under mysterious circumstances, the agents suspect a mentally challenged janitor may be the culprit. The episode was written by Chris Rapunzel, which is amusing. This is another creative force on this series that I'm talking about the same week while talking about Quantum Leap that he also worked on. Though once again, by the time you're listening to this, that will have been a month or so ago. The episode was directed by David Nutter. He thought this was one of the weakest scripts he worked on within the first season. He has Beyond the Sea and Ice on his resume, so that kind of tracks, but he also has Lazarus, so I'm really not so sure that he's completely right about that. The episode originally aired on May 6, 1994. Before going any further, I'll tell you a couple of things. One, this is not a spoiler-free podcast, so if you haven't watched the episode, I highly recommend you go and check it out, and then come back and give me a listen. Secondly, if you're listening on one of the platforms this podcast is now available on, please follow, and feel free to check out my YouTube channel, Corn Productions, where additional content can be discovered. If you're already on my YouTube channel, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to my channel. So, whoever decided to air this directly after Born Again is drunk and needs to go home. We discussed this last week. But this is the third episode this season to deal with someone coming back from the dead and seeking revenge through someone else. Hello, Lazarus, and hello, Born Again. Is that this episode's fault? No, but it does lose points because of those episodes already having had that basic premise. There are plus points for it being a better story with better actors, such as James Soylent, who I've talked about before, having appeared in Quantum Leap, The Last Dance Before an Execution. This is the penultimate episode before the finale, and it's pretty firmly in Okayville. The episode begins with Roland attempting to get through a door, but failing to get the code and card right at the same time. He has to get help from a patronizing scientist. Roland is played by Zeljko Ebnik. He has 125 episodes for him, including House MD, a couple of episodes of The West Wing, and the movie Seven Psychopaths. He's good here, but I'm a tad uncomfortable with the portrayal here. It seems cliched for someone who is mentally disabled. Meanwhile, some scientists are doing some sciencey stuff with a pretty intense-looking project. One of the scientists, the lead, is Robert Cerno, played by Matthew Walker, and this actor would come back as another character in the fourth season episode Jessamine. That would actually be the finale of season 4. The other scientist is Dr. Noet, played by the already mentioned James Soylent. 95 credits for him, including Star Trek TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, as well as the aforementioned Quantum Leap episode. Even under a ton of makeup, he's recognizable by voice. The experiment does not go well. Cerno shuts it down, which Noet doesn't agree with, angrily so. For some reason, Roland decides to become murderous, and he activates the experiment while Cerno is inside, and he ends up dying from a giant fan, which chops him into a million little pieces. And Roland somehow manages to fix a code on the wall, solving a problem that took scientists many years to figure out. And we have our credits. Mulder and Scully end up on the case, no rundown, they are just arriving at the scene. Apparently, Cerno was the second death in a short time frame. Scully is curious how this is an X-File, and Mulder doesn't really answer the question. He meets Dr. Keats and Noet, and is led to where Cerno died, which is pretty free of gore. I would expect there to be a lot more blood everywhere. The second scientist that died was Arthur Gable, who died in an automobile accident. Scully insinuates that there's a possibility that this was not an accident. Mulder points out that the handwriting on the board is different in this one little section than it is the entire rest of the board. Mulder asks about Roland, as he was the only other person in the building at the time. Dr. Keats does not believe that Roland did it because he's not exactly a rocket scientist. We cut to Roland making a card and giving it to his girlfriend Tracy. The agents show up to talk to him. He isn't very helpful, but does point out how many stars are on Scully's shirt, if anybody's particularly curious about that. He has some kind of flash of memory, and actually I don't think it's a memory, but a signifier of intention of somebody getting killed, and then he starts to have a minor freak out. Mulder and Scully go to a handwriting expert, and of course she says it's definitely different. Notably, this is not the same expert as in Young at Heart that clearly wanted to bone Mulder. Roland has a nightmare, and then we are at the lab with Dr. Keats, and he too seemingly meets his end at the hands of Roland. Looks like he's being cryo-frozen to death and his face smashed. That's going to be a hell of a cleanup, and I think this was the flash that Roland had. So Roland had it in his mind to kill Dr. Keats in that way. So now they investigate a second death. Mulder has to get into a computer and guesses a password, 15626, which works and this surprises Scully. The file access was Arthur Gables, and it seems like someone is continuing his work for the last 6 months. Scully wonders how he knew the password, and it's because those numbers were written on a piece of paper written by Roland. Roland wakes up from yet another nightmare and is once again visited by the agents. Mulder picks out a shirt for him, and he questions him some more, and it turns out he was hired by Gable in the first place. Mulder, while talking to Scully, speculates that Arthur staged his death and is using Roland to kill the people he wants killed. For some reason, he wants his associates killed. And Scully discovers that his birthday happens to be the exact same as Gable's. Tracy and Roland talk. Tracy says she had a dream about the two of them being married, and she wants to know if he ever had a dream. And he has a flash of murdering Tracy. He gets upset and runs upstairs. Tracy chases after him and tries to apologize and is really upset. And the scene is kind of annoying, but I have some questions about the scene on top of that. Why does anyone in this equation want to kill Tracy? It doesn't seem like Roland wants that. And Arthur, who we're assuming at some point is inhabiting Roland's body, why does he specifically want to kill her? Because she overheard his dream in which he said the name Arthur? That seems a tad bit excessive to me. Mulder talks to Noette. Mulder is basically on a Arthur faking his own death kick, which will soon be thoroughly disproven, because his body was frozen, or at least his head was. This is with the intention of bringing him back, and it's certainly not the first time that science fiction has had that as an idea. There's a fluctuation in temperature of Gable's pod that cannot be explained. They've actually tried to fix it, but there doesn't seem to be anything causing it. And it's not a big deal as long as the temperature stays above a certain temperature. And here it is that we discover that Roland and him were actually twins. Mulder asks Roland about his dreams. Mulder relays one of his own, that he was swimming in a pool. His water stung his eyes when he was looking up at his father, and another man was looking down at him, asking questions he didn't want to answer. And given the series, this seems like a repressed memory that he's sharing here, that's coming out in dream form. Roland reveals that his dreams make him want to hit Tracy, and of course Mulder is confused by this, wondering why he would want to hit Tracy, and he does not get an answer. Mulder spots a UFO toy and has Roland play with it, and this is to make a point. He thinks that Arthur is controlling Roland through his dreams. Roland starts freaking out once again. Tracy once again goes after him, and it seems like we're on repeat here, that we've seen this scene before playing out. Only this time, Roland escapes the bathroom going through the window and runs away. Scully is skeptical of this new theory of Mulder's, but of course is going along with it for the time being. Unbeknownst to them, they are being watched by Noette. Noette breaks into the cryo lab to permanently disable Arthur Gable's pod. Well, that is cold. Roland is seemingly hard at work and is interrupted by Noette, who knows who Roland is at this moment. Noette reveals himself to be a piece of crap, revealing he's cool with stealing Arthur's work and getting all the credit for it, saying that, hey, what good would this work do for you? You're dead. And he reveals his plan to come up with a BS story about Roland attacking him, but Roland attacks him and puts him into the wind tunnel with the intent of killing him. The agents get there just in time to try and get Roland to turn off the machine, and Roland eventually does so, just in the nick of time. Arthur's pod gets too low, and that's a wrap on him. Mulder reveals to the person who is taking care of Roland that he completed his brother's work, somehow. Roland is leaving to go where, I'm not really sure. They had previously indicated that the prosecutors are not sure if they want to pursue this matter any, and so yeah, I'm not totally sure where Roland is going here. Tracy is upset, but he gives her his stars. They say they love each other, and that is where the episode ends. Alright, so, yeah, it was fine. A fine episode to lead into the finale. Not particularly memorable, but but definitely not bad. Anyway, that's all I got for you for this video. If you want to support the channel, there are ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join one of my Core Productions Facebook pages. You can buy something from the Core Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a copy. You can join the Core Productions membership for 99 cents a month. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribing to my channel. This is Dave from Core Productions, signing off.